And I will make greetings again. Hello, my friends. Best greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. My name is Victor Fursov. I am research entomologist, beekeeper, and teacher. And this is my channel devoted to entomology, the science of insects, and also devoted to some other invertebrates, some other organisms which are living around us. Today, very special day. I'm translating from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and today already midnight. So this stream is for English-speaking audience, and in midnight is appropriate time because of change of time lines. By the way, I already did stream about entomological subject as Bombyx mori or American moon moth. So this is a continuation about life cycle of silk moth, which is named American moon moth. So welcome to talk about rearing, about breeding of American moon moth as a very common and most often breeding material worldwide. How to breed this moth, how to breed, to be precisely, caterpillars of American moon moth. And what's that? Who is this? Well, you know very well, probably, or you have heard at least, about silk moth. Yes, mulberry silk moth. This is charismatic species which is already known about 3,500 years from ancient time in China, was bred for silk, for receiving silk in cocoons, because mulberry silk moth producing special cocoons, and these are cocoons of a Bombyx mori. Bombyx mori, so you can say Chinese or Japanese mulberry silk moth. They're very nice, and if you can take it off these tiny fibers from here, it's possible to receive wonderful silk for human being purpose, for different purposes. But today we will be, and who is inside? Inside there is a pupa, because this is cocoon and inside a pupa. Maybe smaller than, because this is a pupa of another species, but inside there is such a kind of brown organism which is named pupa of night moth, or just mulberry silk moth. But today we will be talking about another silk moth, which is belonging to another species, and species is named Actias luna in Latin name, or American moon moth, and I will show you its two. Silk moth, this is a special family. It's actually visible here, not in a big size. This is Saturniidae of the same family, Saturniidae, and Saturnia pavonia, and small middle species, Saturnia spini, which are distributed to these three species in Ukraine. I'm making this stream from Ukraine, not from America, by the way. So welcome to Ukraine and welcome to subscribe to my channel. And in Ukraine now, this is a very difficult situation of uncertainty, unpredictability, and situation of war. Wide-scale war in Ukraine because our crazy crazy neighbor attacking us from southeast areas of Ukraine. So that's why situation is very difficult. So that's why I also could say about this day today, which is August 9th, the day of bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki on 6th August and on 9th August. Hiroshima on 6th and Nagasaki on 9th in 1945. So this is Memorial Day in Japan because this nuclear bombing created a devastating human destructions and so many human deaths in Japan. So we need to remember about this day. This is terrible Memorial Day. Despite the situation of wild-scale war in Ukraine now, I would like to tell a little bit about biology. Don't be crazy in this crazy time. Some people are crazy, but some devoted people as scientists, biologists and entomologists, and some beekeepers, also some very much devoted people, are devoted to their subject, science, and I am talking about entomology, the science of insects. So today we will be talking about life cycle of American moon moth. And where is this moth? This moth is sitting here. This one is not American moon moth. This is octopus. Octopus sitting here with indicating here the symbol of Ukraine. This is octopus. Yeah, you see this octopus? Octopus sending you greetings from Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. But American moon moth sitting here in this container. And I show you this moth because I have one female alive. This is American moon moth, very nice one. I can be sitting on this melon. Sit down, please. Yes. So pretty moth, nocturnal moth, which is actually originally living in North America, in Canada, in the United States, and even in Mexico. This species widely distributed and has different number of generations depending from the temperature, from environmental conditions. In Canada, northern areas, this species has just one generation per year, and in Mexico up to 3 and even maybe 4 generations in a year. But in other countries, this species is not native. So this species not native in Ukraine. I received it from my friend Oleg, who sent me what? He didn't send me this moth because moth is very fragile. But he sent me eggs of this moth. And actually this is a female. Some entomologists who are lepidopterists. Lepidopterists, they are very devoted sometimes. Some breeders, they like to breed some insects like beetles, some butterflies, daily butterflies or nocturnal butterflies, like especially like this Saturniidae family butterflies, moths to be precise, in captivity. So this species is easily bred in captivity. How to do it? To start breeding, you need to receive eggs of this lovely moth, which has so beautiful pale green color and with two small tails on the top of hind wings and two small points on hind wings. She's becoming active because she's warming now. She was sitting certain time in captivity. Not in a freezer, but in a refrigerator. She is not dangerous at all. Some amateurs, some lovers of insects, do like to keep insects, some insects, not dangerous insects, in captivity, just for curiosity, for fun, to learn about life cycle, about breeding methods, and to learn about how to produce these insects from egg, larva, pupa, and then just adult. So this is adult night moth, Actias luna, American moon moth. So let's start from the beginning of the story. I received from my friend Oleg just eggs of this moth because this is a female, and after mating, female will produce bunch of eggs. Sorry. Sit down, please. Let's come to the cage. Let's come to me. She's sitting. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I got a small bunch of eggs from my friend Alex. And this looks like that. Because female laid eggs just on gaze. In cage. In captivity. After mating. Definitely. Because you can receive males and females and in big cage, like in a big bag. They are producing eggs. But how you can receive them? You can start the colony either from eggs or from cocoons. Cocoons, I have already 2 cocoons, for instance. These are old cocoons which attach to these leaves. I got actually this male and this female and another male. They just emerged from cocoons about a week ago. So she's still alive about maybe 7 days. So what's going on later? And actually why people breeding insects and breeding moths in captivity? Reasons are different. Some people breeding for curiosity, some people breeding for learning life cycle, some people making commercial breeding, like for instance, some people making this kind of souvenirs like this Antaria species, Chinese silk moth. I don't like this kind of souvenirs, by the way, but I got it just a gift, so that's why I can show you. So I don't like these souvenirs. I prefer living butterflies, living moths, and observe them as living organisms. But some people making these souvenirs for commercial purpose because we can breed butterflies, we can breed moths in captivity in a big number. Oleg is keeping, for instance, more than 100 caterpillars of this moth in captivity. Sit down, please. Sit down, please. Wait. Okay, we can talk. And she will be sitting. So, I got eggs and I put them in container. So let's start how you can breed them. After 7-8 days, so some caterpillars just hatch from eggs. They're hatching very quickly. They're very small. They're very active. They're crawling everywhere. So that's why you need to put them to container, to closed container. Otherwise, we will escape. Initially, they will eat a little bit eggshell. So that's why they don't need immediately food. But after that, they started to crawl around, search for food, for leaves. They're searching for food plant. And what's this about food plant? Each caterpillar needs food plant, needs something to eat, because caterpillars of moths and daily butterflies were feeding on plants. So that's why we need to provide larvae or caterpillars of American moon moth with food plants. And fortunately for this species, Actias luna, food plants are variable. Many species of food plants are known as food plants for Actias luna or luna moth. I will give just this whole list of species under the description of video, but I will name some species of food plants. This can be red maple, sugar maple, with genus Acer in Latin. This can be betula or silver birch, ray birch, paper birch. This can be Carpinus, common hornbeam, hickory of genus Caria in Latin. Then it can be even American chestnut, Castanea dentata. This can be even Eucalyptus gunnii, cider gum, Fagus grantifolia, American beech, butternut, Jugulans cinera, black walnut, Jugulans nigra, liquan amber or American sweet gum. Actually, another species, for instance, American hornbeam, Platanus lindeniana, Mexican sycamore, white poplar, Populus tremulus, prunus, so plum, also available, or cherry, Prunus domestica, Prunus serratina, black cherry. Even white oak, Quercus alba, is available as a food plant for this species, for caterpillars. Rus glabra, or white sumac. Rus tifina, or staghorn sumac. Even willow, the caterpillars will eat even willow leaves. So you can easily find food plant somewhere outside near your house. So I found just walnuts. So from time to time I'm coming to these plants and just cutting leaves for food. And so even species Ulmus procera, English elm, is also food plant. So let's start to show you caterpillars. And now the most interesting of the time of this stream, how to keep them. So you can understand. So initially some eggs are sitting in a small container. When you transfer them to big container or bigger container, actually it's much better to keep them in a case bag, open bag, with separately, with container with water, with plants. But it's not convenient sometimes, and I don't have a big case bag to keep them. So I got just some containers, and I will show you how I keep them. The most important to keep them clean and to clean from time to time the container. On the bottom of the container you need to put some filter paper or toilet paper to avoid extra moisture and to clean container from time to time. To clean container and take off this wet toilet paper is very important to keep conditions more preferable, because maybe, I guess, if it will be not too much ventilation, it will be too wet, some caterpillars can got some diseases, and this can be a problem, because if you keep caterpillars, what do they do? They're feeding very quickly, and this species, American moon moth, has 5 instars, 5 larval stages. So small caterpillars becoming bigger and becoming bigger, and they molt from time to time. 5 times they are molting, 4 times molting, and 5th instar, 5th stage, will search the place for pupation. So they feed in very quickly. So they feed and eat everything in container. So now they are very hungry. So these are hungry American moon moths. So that's why they're crawling around and searching for small pieces of walnut. And it's quite interesting to observe them, how they're feeding, because the major job is just to feed, feed, and feed. And it's very funny because they're feeding, they're like a buzzing bumblebees, so they're like feeding, and so you can hear a little noise how they eat it. And surprisingly, they're different. Bigger moths will become just females, so they're more fat. Smaller will be males, but some individuals, some specimens are growing not very fast because of interspecific differences. Individuals can be different, so that's why some individuals twice smaller and some twice bigger. But as I said, the most important part, to avoid humidity and to clean container, because they're feeding and they're pooping. So a lot of small black dots around, these are poop. So drop pops, poops, 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 poops. So that's why important to clean it, because some fungi will appear on these poops. Maybe they can transfer some fungi inside on the surface of leaves, and it's not good. And also in high humidity, maybe some microorganisms can develop and some viruses. Unfortunately, this wonderful culture may receive some diseases because of caterpillars of many species of nocturnal moth. They have diseases, especially they have viral diseases. And I got experience now that my culture also became a little bit infected. So I'm showing you this container, which is healthy, but one separate container. I do not show, do not touch caterpillars with my fingers and transfer it everywhere, because I got some dead caterpillars. Unfortunately, they become very soft. They became wet, so they produce a kind of liquid, either from mouth parts or from the back parts, and so they are dying. They are dying. So after such strange virus disease. Of course, virus diseases of silk moths have been studied for ages, for decades, because this is very useful, very easy subject for breeding. So easy to extract virus, easy to multiplicate it, easy to make experiments with infection of one individual to another individual, transfer it from one culture to another culture to receive resistant lines. But this is not my subject of study. I know it from literature, but unfortunately I got some individuals which are dead now because of viral disease. That's why I'm worried about my culture very much, and will clean this container after this stream to keep the culture clean without this pop, pop, all these black drops. And I show you how I look like finally. So you need to give some branches of leaves like walnut here inside container and leave them alone for half of day or day. Don't disturb them very much, do not touch very much. Caterpillars, they will grow without your attention. You can open container and just enjoy how they are growing, how they are feeding, how they are cutting leaves, because it's a very funny experience. For instance, when you are cleaning, for instance, I show you, be careful, don't squash caterpillars, but I'll show you a little bit some of them, because they ate all leaves and possible to show them in a big number like that. So they have a size about 6 centimeters now. They feed very quickly all leaves, piece by piece, part by part, very carefully, and sometimes all leaves are eaten, or some parts not eaten just fall down, and caterpillars will feed on stems, on these very strong stems. So they eat everything what is possible. So that's why only small sticks appeared after the feeding. So no leaves, no branches. But you need to be careful and to add some food for these hungry caterpillars for sure. So that's why I will feed them. I will clean container. This is most important, to clean container. Do not touch for caterpillars very much. Don't disturb them and don't transfer possible diseases. They're very nice. They're pale green with small blue or reddish dots on their sides, and they have small hairs. Actually, they're not dangerous. They don't have hairs like some silk moths. They have hairs. Mulberry silk moth has no hairs, very naked. So these are with small hairs. But for instance, giant peacock moth, caterpillar has a very strong, very big, very colorful hairs, which so you must be very careful don't touch hairs of caterpillars, because in many cases they're allergic, so they can come to your eyes. It's not good. You can disturb some eyes. These hairs were very itchy, so that's why be careful with culture of a giant silk moth or Saturniidae, but this one is very delicate, very cute, very funny. So I can try to show you this on computer in a bigger size. So the size about 6 centimeters maximum, and after this size we grow a little bit. I was thinking that we'll grow more for next week, but in next container I will show you they already started to pupate, because life cycle has several parts. First part is growing. First part is this is egg. Next part 5 instars, 5 larval stages, and then this beautiful caterpillar will pupate. This caterpillar will make cocoon, brownish, whitish color cocoon with pupa inside. And pupa will hatch, and from pupa will hatch adult or moth. I have shown you this pale, wild pale green moth, which is very beautiful. So some caterpillars in other containers already started to pupate. So I will put them back and show you the next container. I'm trying to be careful. I need to close container because otherwise we will escape. My friend Alex said that sometimes some of his caterpillars escaping, they are crawling around his room and they're pupating just on walls. So that's not a good idea to get some walls with pupa of caterpillars. So that's why I'm keeping them in closed container for security. But the most important to clean container from the poop and to clean it with clean hands. So a closed container like that. You can make some hollows for ventilation. Here, put many holes for ventilation, so it will improve ventilation inside container. But let's go to watch for another container. Next container looks like aquarium. Actually, if you have an opportunity, you can create beer cage. Put these leaves of walnut or birch or other species of host plant in a big gaze container. So very easy, because you can keep in plants in water, close with cotton, to prevent caterpillars from coming inside the water. Be careful. Close bottle against falling down caterpillars in water. But you see, bottle is very big, so it needs a very big gaze container, very big bag. I use smaller bag. I use aquarium, which is now not aquarium, which is now terrarium, but not for lizards, for caterpillars. And then they have been eating for whole day this day, so they ate everything. They produce a lot of poop, but I still didn't clean it to show you the container, how many of them sitting inside. They feel well. Fortunately, this culture is not diseased, not infected. I hope so. So they ate most of stems, most of leaves. So they're raising it very quickly. So that's why I already gave them just a big brunch this evening. So they ate already it. But the most funny, that they already started to do cocoons. And I will show you them. So I need to clean this container because they produce so many poop, very much, and it's increasing the moisture inside needs cleaning. This is more difficult for keeping pets. After observing your beautiful pets, you need to clean your pets. Yes, you must be careful about your pets. You not need to love them and say, Father, Mother, please clean container. Yeah, this is if it is your pet. If these are your pets, you need to clean it yourself. You must be devoted zoologist. You must be devoted entomologist, because all animals, all home pets produce some rubbish, produce some poop, and you need to clean it. But some of them, like here, were producing themselves, were becoming bigger, bigger, and bigger, and some of them already pupated. I show you caterpillars and try to show you some pupa. Oh yes, where it is? It is here. Everything is interconnected because not so much space. You see, this is a leaf, and inside leaf something rounded, oval size, something silky substance. This is a larva produced already this silk cocoon, because she is in a process of pupation. Maybe still not finished it, so that's why I don't touch it very much, because this is very careful process. Big size caterpillar like this one probably already can start producing cocoon. Smaller size, probably still small, will be feeding. Still feeding, still raising. I've seen here 2 cocoons. Yes, this is another one. I try to show you. Yes, yes, yes. Second cocoon. Come here. Where it is. Come here. Yes. I found this one is very funny. So by raising here everything. And what's happening with this leaf? These are just remnants of leaf. And on the top of leaf, something inside. Yes, inside. These are 2 different cocoons I got already. Inside, whitish cocoon. Inside this leaf. Still, oh yes, visible whitish cocoon. Yeah, you see. Caterpillar is searching for leaves. We're searching, we're grazing everything here around, because we're very hungry caterpillars. But pupa is already not hungry. Pupa is already happy. So this caterpillar produced cocoon, and after some days, several days, pupa caterpillar is becoming a pupa. And what's happening next? If it is convenient time, like a middle summer, pupa can be developing in the same season and producing adult. So from pupa, that's just adult. The moth should be coming. But I hope so that this pupa will not be destroyed this season. I hope that this pupa will become adult next season, because after pupation in autumn times, pupa will produce adult either this season or next season. Pupa must overwinter during the whole long cold winter for several months. And you see, all of them were still grazing, grazing, and grazing. feeding, feeding, and feeding. And pupa is already happy. Here I already showed you. These are caterpillars. And here, caterpillar with pupa. Yes, caterpillar is just still feeding on leaf around pupa. Because this is another caterpillar. Isn't it funny? Pretty funny. But she will not destroy cocoon because cocoon is very strong and it's a good protection for pupa. Fortunately, if you keep culture of these caterpillars, they will not feeding on each other. In some species, for some species of insects, cannibalism is very often event for many species of insects. So probably there are some species of moth which has such a kind of a cannibalism. So small caterpillars can destroy big one, but this species is very safe. So they can be feeding on the same leaf peacefully, producing poop, which is falling, dropping down. But you still can enjoy the communication between them. Of course, it needs to say that if you have many of caterpillars, they don't like very much to be all together because this is stressful for them, because they touch each other and so they're disturbing and they worry about it very much. So they try to search another direction for another piece of leaf because this one caterpillar is coming to big leaf and small, and another specimen is not so happy coming back because found that this species is already occupied the leaf. It's not food for this individual, so she started to crawl down. And of course, we need little bit space for development in your cage. That's why you need either to put them in a big cage to give them a little bit space between them, or to give them more food, like leaves of walnuts. Yes, after them they will be happy. For instance, if I give them like this one leaf, yeah, caterpillars immediately started to move to this on these leaves. But this one is not necessary. If you put just another big leaf and another specimen is still eating, this specimen will be still eating the old leaf carefully and just piece by piece, drop by drop, part by part. Still will be finishing the whole leaf. And after that, when leaf is finished, caterpillar is turning around and going to another direction to feed on the next leaf. And she is feeding still unless the whole old leaves will be eaten part by part, very carefully, to be very economic in food resource. They're not crowding all the time. They're just sitting and feeding on leaves. This is their advantage. But still, if it is not enough food resource, they will be crawling around to search for next leaves. That's why, for instance, I put this cocoon with caterpillar here with some leaves. And this caterpillar is not crawling out, feeding on leaf because she has a little bit of food resource. But if will be no food resource, caterpillar will be crawling around. So you need to check your culture and give new food, new leaves regularly, and check your culture twice a day, morning time and evening time. If you keep culture in container, in any type of container, like terrarium, like this one, or like in big gas bag with good ventilation. It's up to you. In a big case, there are some disadvantages. You need to have a big space to keep it. Your container can be smaller, but you need only to give them a little bit ventilation. And my friend said also that she's putting them sometimes on a sunshine from time to time to give a little bit sun for culture, for caterpillars. So probably sun can destroy some diseases, destroy some microorganisms. So culture could be healthier if you show from time to time your culture on a sunshine. Not very so much because the temperature will be increasing very much, and so your insects will die under the direct sunshine. So you need to keep them either in a room or in a shadow, but in a relatively not very high temperature, because in high temperature will be if in small ventilation, the humidity will increase very much, and too much humidity is not healthy for the culture. So you see, I get new leaves. The caterpillar is happy to eat it, sitting on one stick and eating just another leaf, not crawling out. Just it's possible to take this leaf with first pair of legs, first 3 pairs of legs, like a human with 2 pairs of legs. Take it and feed it piece by piece, and it's very funny to observe them how they eat it, because the caterpillar is big size, very good for observation. 6 centimeters, big one. Of course, I will show you the face under the big magnification. This caterpillar in other videos, I try to record from time to time. I have them under the not time lapse, but under the zoom, to show it just the big magnification of a head, because head is very funny, and this grazing activity of caterpillar is also very funny, and they're producing some noise. And I didn't say also the next funny advantage of this caterpillars and moths, but they produce cocoons, and cocoons are noisy. And not all species of butterflies and night moths have noisy cocoons, but this species produce cocoons with pupa inside, and pupa is very active. Crawling around cocoon. I cannot show it, but I already recorded it in this. You can see it on my YouTube channel. Pupa, because this is empty cocoon. And this one is still not fully grown. When I will have several cocoons, I will show you their activity in separate video. So if you touch cocoon, which is relatively soft, like paper, very soft, here no cocoon, with only with hole, because this cocoon is after hatched moth. So, but when it is with pupa is crawling around, touching with small horns this sides of its cocoon and producing noise. So very funny just to keep it in hands, and pupa is just crawling inside like a beetle inside cocoon. So that's why cocoon is going to be noisy, especially this is very funny for this species, American moon moth, noisy cocoons. Noisy pupa actually, not cocoons. This is just a shell. Noisy is the pupa because pupa is crawling and touching with shoulders, with horn on shoulders, this cocoon, so and making kind of noise. So these are caterpillars, and now these are pupa, and these are funny caterpillars. So I hope it was funny, interesting for you. So that's why it needs only to feed them maybe just a week. If they will not be infected anymore from another container, I hope we will produce several cocoons, because each of them must produce cocoon with pupa. If they are not diseased, I hope so they will be healthy, because they're already big. But unfortunately, even big caterpillars sometimes infected. You can say very big already, very healthy, but sometimes they can be ill, even big size caterpillars, and it's very pity. It's a great shame. They have been growing very long time, several weeks, couple of weeks, but even big caterpillar can be ill and die. Unfortunately, so 5 caterpillars have died already. They died, and it's a really shame. But I will show how they look like in a separate video because it needs careful video. I do not need to touch them very much, only with stick. Do not spread viral disease, but I will record them in a separate video to show how they look like. Unfortunately, not very good video about diseased caterpillars, but very important because they are diseased, they have been infected with a viral disease, and you need to know. And actually, some other, like hawk moths of the family Sphingidae, they're also very susceptible, not so resistant to viral diseases, and sometimes can die after diseases, my friend said as well. But this is another story about hawk moths, because today we have silk moths of a family Saturniidae. I hope it was interesting and funny for you to know a little bit more about caterpillars. If you are interested to keep them as pets at home, you can search for some devoted Lepidopterists from whom you can order some cocoons with pupa, or you can order just eggs of these moths or daily butterflies and feed them with host plants if it is still summer, spring, or autumn time. Because in winter time, you don't have a greenhouse, you don't have host plant. That's why in summertime, you may have some culture of interesting caterpillars, such species like American moon moth, or in Latin name Actias luna. And it's quite easy to keep them in a culture. And you may have a great fun for cultivation and observation, and maybe taking photographs with your photo camera or with your smartphone. Now it's very easy to put some pictures on your social webs, social sites, and Facebook and other social media. And enjoy it to share this knowledge with your friends, colleagues, or just your parents as well. But for that, you need to order either pupa in cocoons or some eggs, and be careful about host plant. You need to check if you have host plant around, you can start your personal colony. So that's a story. If it was interesting for you, write your questions, ask questions about host plants, about pets, how to grow them, how to keep them. Share your own experience if you have been keeping them. What species you have been keeping in your culture. If you are very experienced entomologist, experienced lepidopterist, if you have a little knowledge, little bit experience, ask your questions how to do it. I can repeat my explanations in my next videos as well. And don't be afraid about your English, even with mistakes. You can write your questions or suggestions with Google Translate. But you need to have your Gmail to write comments on under this video, because Gmail allows you to write comments under this video. Gmail is worldwide distributed. If you're still not on Gmail, come to Gmail, open your account on Gmail, and you will be able to write comments and ask questions under this video. And don't forget, visit my Patreon page to make some donations. This is a great pleasure, because recently I got donation from Curious Koi. Thank you very much to Curious Koi, secret donator from United States of America, which said this is donation for entomology and for support of Ukraine. And I really appreciate it very much. Even small donation, this is a good feedback, which dropped on my PayPal, and I was very much surprised. So I was surprised, is it correct or not? But when I saw the message for entomology and for support Ukraine, I understood, yes, that's right. And I got small message from Curious Koi. Thank you very much again. So you can find link on PayPal and my email in the description of this video, or you can visit my Patreon page for several donations during the year. For instance, even for a cup of coffee, feedback is very funny, very pleasant. So because I'm doing it just for fun, donations also great fun and pleasure, because I can buy some equipment and tell you more stories to gather your curiosity in insects, in zoology, in entomology. But now it's time to feed my caterpillars. They're very hungry because I was showing them for a long time this evening, this midnight time in Ukraine. I need to clean it, to give them new leaves, and keep them peacefully inside the cage, because they start to produce new pupa very soon, these hungry caterpillars. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the chat with my friends. Yes, I hope to do more videos about entomology and science. If we will have peaceful time in Ukraine, it is from time to time. And don't forget, support Ukraine, stand with Ukraine, and Ukraine is forever. Thank you for watching. In recorded mode, it will be recorded and shown later. Support Ukraine, stand with Ukraine. Ukraine is forever. Good luck. See you soon on my channel. If you are not subscribed, press on also on Curious Koi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your information, and it was enjoyable. Thank you. A great pleasure to see it immediately. Feedback. Slava Ukraini. Героям слава. Sorry about that. Glory to Ukraine. See you soon on my channel. Bye-bye. And broadcast. Thank you, Curious Koi.